So, I don't hate the movie. Some of the criticisms I disagree with and some of the controversies. If I didn't know about them, then it wouldn't have mattered. However, but with this film, I do have problems with it. A cartel leader becomes... Start over. Sorry. Take two. A cartel... Take three. A cartel leader becomes a woman and tries to find redemption through starting a nonprofit that helps her find other missing people who are victims of the cartel. With a premise like that, this is the kind of movie people say you would either gonna love it or hate it. A lot of people say it as an exaggeration, but that is very much the case with Emilia Perez.
You forgot to throw in that it's full of musical numbers.
Oh, thank you. The most important thing. Yeah. And it's a musical.
And it's a musical, yeah.
About Mexico from a Frenchman.
Who admittedly knows nothing about Mexico except what he knows. did no research.
Okay, I hate it. Some people say it. I don't need to know anything else. I hate it. But Hollywood loves this movie. Everybody else is hating it more and more every day. This is Emilia Perez, received 13 nominations at the Academy Awards, the highest nominated movie, I believe, right?
I was just about to look it up.
Yeah.
No, it is. It is the highest nominated movie out of anything at the Academy Awards this year. Let's take a look, because I just watched this recently, because even I had to see what was going on with this. Wanted to see it anyway because, I still got to see all these movies that are going to be for the best of 2024. This was released in 2024. And Netflix has, it's a streaming service, but has the most nominations out of any studio.
Right. They used to block Netflix out, but I guess they've embraced them and given up the most nominations.
Oh, they're going to say block their ass again. This is between them getting so many nominations, this crazy ass movie right here. This is too much. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Emilia Perez, which I just saw. These guys saw it a long time ago.
November?
Yeah. And I want to get into a discussion of the love and hate for this movie, and also tell you, where they stand, which you probably already heard, but definitely tell you where I stand on this.
I don't think we talked about it.
I think you talked about it briefly, maybe, if even. So maybe you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is going to be a great surprise for everybody right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer.
Esto. Mingo.
So, in case you need more information on this movie, at least with the story, I gave you the basics right there, which is crazy enough. But this is directed by a Frenchman, as you said, Jacques Audiard. Now, you're the French person here.
I'd have to see it to read it, but I don't think...
Audiard, I believe is how you say it. Anyway, hey, listen, he don't care about Spanish. I don't care about French. But this stars a transgender actress, Carla Sophia Gascon, who plays the title character, Emilia Perez. Zoe Saldana plays, I guess, an attorney who's
a lawyer
who's sick with. She's kind of tired of her job. She's tired of defending, bad people. Opens up with the movie that way, and she all of a sudden gets this request from the biggest cartel leader in Mexico, and he reveals that he wants to be a woman, and he wants her to set it up for him. And all the everything from arranging the faking his death and making that look convincing to finding the right doctor and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Selena Gomez plays the wife of the cartel leader, Jessie, who is caught up in the middle of all of this, along with her two kids. And as the movie goes on, you start to see how Emilia Perez tries to use this transition, this new life, as a way to redeem herself for all the bad things that she's done in the past. But, of course, there are some things that you just cannot escape, as you might have been able to guess from her just being a mob boss or a cartel leader. Done too much dirt in the past to actually, all of a sudden decide I'm going to be a good person. Let me ask y'all something, man. Y'all saw this back in November, and I think it's important for people to hear from y'all first, talking about the film, what you thought about it when you first saw it, and how you feel about this love-hate relationship with the movie now, with the public. Whoever wants to go. I'll start with you, Julian, because I believe that you like this movie a lot. And I'm not making fun of you or anything about that.
No, I know. This was one of these reviews where I was going to probably keep more quiet than that because I don't want people to be mad at me. It's like, look, I saw a movie that I thought was really well crafted and I enjoyed a lot about it. Like, this movie is very bold, and I think the less you know about it, the better. I think the movie is beautiful to look at. And I've heard a lot of the complaints that people have, but honestly, I feel like there's certain bits that they're missing, or at least to me, I read the movie maybe differently than them.
Can I just say also, people are supporting your opinion, man. They say, don't be afraid to, if that is truly your opinion, and you're not coming across as somebody who's just trying to be contradictory or trying to be cool or trying to be ironic, whatever. If you seem sincere, then people are going to support you, and you seem like you're sincere about it.
I never come in here trying to, just say the thing that I think people will like me for. I dream of working for
I hate you for it.
Yeah, exactly. But I dream of working for these studios. Why the f would I shit on their work? But this is a time where I think that this is very, very bold, and I think that this has just been blown totally out of proportion. Like, the way that people are criticizing these musical numbers, it's like, this sounds like Broadway. It has the same rhythm. And the fact that it's in Spanish, I think the director, his vision was that he just likes the way that the language sounds.
He actually did say that. I mean, I read up on this, couldn't help but read it. And he said, they asked him, why do you, a French person, want to do a movie based in Mexico with the Spanish speaking language? He said, 1, I think Spanish is beautiful. 2, I think French sucks. That's what he said. He came across very blunt about that. It sounds like I'm paraphrasing. No, that's what he said. He said, I think French sucks. He said, I think it's terrible. So he just, he's like, just because I speak it don't mean I gotta like it.
Right.
But yeah, that's why I said, really, yeah, at least that's what I read. Now, if what I read is true, then yeah, that's what he said. Now, could it be I misread, or maybe it's not what he really said? Could be. I don't know. But Martin.
So yeah, Julie and I both saw it before there was any kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
It was a Netflix movie, and being that it was in November, it's one of those that they're like, hey, they're putting this up for awards. And watch this movie. I felt a lot of the same way Julian did. I thought, this is really bold, and it's really going out there, and it's got a lot of interesting concepts going on. It's so like, where's this gonna go? Now it gets to the musical numbers, and I was much less enthusiastic about those. I was watching those, and I was like you say Broadway, and I'm like, this is like off Broadway, almost like not quite high school level, but it kept taking me back to Joker 2, where I was just like, listen, if you're going to do these musical numbers, they really need to stand out. And I thought they were kind of clipped and interesting, but I found the singing, especially from our actors, not all that great. And I was like, well, okay, this is what it's going. But I like where this is going, where are all these new places? Till about halfway through. Mm-hmm. And then there was this creeping feeling like, you know what? This is doing that thing where, man, it's doing so much, is bringing in all these concepts. It's doing too many of them. It's got too much going on so that it's not really landing anything. It's not really, it's like, okay, it's a political, well, it's a crime film, but it's a musical, but it's a drama, but now it's a message movie. And by the end, the last part, I was like, this has turned into a telenovela. I felt like this started out with something very interesting, but the longer it went on, I was like, man, it's doing all these things, and none of them are really hitting for me. And with the actors who aren't native Spanish speakers, even though, I don't know that or not, but there was just something about it. It's like, this just feels really inauthentic to me. Mm-hmm. And even what they were doing with the trans issues. I don't know that world, but there was just something about it. I was like, this doesn't feel right. It feels like an outsider looking in on this. I do think Carla Sofia Gascon is great in the movie. She's fantastic. And so Zoe Saldana, she holds her own. There's a lot of praise for Selena Gomez, and I never thought she was really all that good in this.
I think Selena Gomez is getting kind of a rough take on this character, because a lot of people are like, man, she's got this accent that she sounds like she's faking it. It's like, well, to me, I read the film that she was an American who had learned Spanish.
Yeah. I got that.
And there's a lot of people, but I'm saying in general, a lot of people I
know there's a lot of people dragging her for that, but yeah, they mentioned how much he was from the States or wanted to go back to the States. So that was all that. Yeah. But so much of it left me going like, man, I was really with this movie and I don't know. But the way it ends, the last third of the movie, I was like, yeah, I'm not digging this so much.
Yeah, so heard both your opinions right here from people who saw it early, by the way. Because I remember hearing about it. They said Emilia Perez, and I was like, I don't know that bitch. I got to work tonight. I
don't even know her. She lied.
Yeah, I don't know who she is. No.
Is that a real person?
Yeah. I was like, no, I'll talk to her later. So where do I stand on this? I definitely don't hate the movie. I don't. And that comes from my admitted ignorance on the many controversies of this movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, I did read about the movie afterwards, but I had to be honest with myself. I said, nah, come on now. You can go out there and try to act like, all this stuff you already knew, or you can be honest.
Yeah.
Say you read it, and if you didn't read any of this stuff before, how would it affect you now? Or how would it affect you then?
Sure.
At that moment. And so, man, some things I wouldn't have noticed. Let me just tell you some of the controversies that are going on with the movie. So one, they're talking about how Mexican culture is represented here in the film. It's not shot on location. They use sets in France. They didn't want to shoot. He said shooting on location was going to be too hard. Let me just stay here in France. They're using non-Mexican leads. Selena Gomez is not Mexican. Carlos Sofia Garcon. Is that her name? Gascon. Garcon. Coffee. Carlos Sofia Gascon. Where is she from?
I don't know.
They make it seem like that she's not Mexican. And Selena Gomez, they said, girl, you can't even speak Spanish.
Right.
We had to teach you that. That's why she sounded like she's talking it phonetically. So a lot of people have not liked that. Also, there's some use of AI in here that people are talking about.
I didn't catch any of that.
Well, it's not visual. It's AI used for her voice to change Gascon's voice here.
Which is something that I think they did in The Brutalist as well.
Well, I didn't see The Brutalist, but I can only say right here when she's playing the cartel leader, when she is a he, she's playing a character called Juan Manitas Del Monte. Mm-hmm. And so they had to alter her voice to talk like this.
Oh, yeah.
Because she can't talk like that anymore.
Right. No, of course.
She can't hit those little levels like that.
Plus, as the cartel leader, looking at the face, I was like, there's something wrong with this dude's face.
Yeah, something was crazy. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. And that's one of the things that actually I do have to criticize there. But yeah, they had her talking like Darth Vader. At the beginning, I want to be a woman. Let's start by clearing your throat first.
You think it sounded over the top?
But let me just say this. Like I said, what I have noticed when I saw it, to be fully honest with you, I would have said this voice sounds strange. And then when I realized that it was the same character playing a woman later, I would have been like, oh, maybe they altered the voice. Would that have been something that bothered me? Probably not.
I didn't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken notice at all.
I thought just that the performance was so good, I didn't even think about that.
Well, I didn't. It would never have crossed my mind had I not known. That's just me being honest. I like some of the camera work in here, man. I think there's a lot of good camera movement, especially during the musical numbers, because this director a lot of times it's kind of handheld feeling and shaky cam and just, there's nothing too flashy about the camera work. When they start doing stuff with the musical numbers, the camera starts moving around a lot. I like that.
Even in some of the more subtle scenes, there's like some old school special effects that he does that I thought were really nice, or like just plays with the lighting.
Yeah, well, he plays the lighting, and where when the musical number starts, sometimes the room gets dark and it's just focused on the character, spotlight or just a few people. Okay, that's creative, that's cool. Some of the criticism I even disagree with in the movie. So with the character of Emilia Perez, I did read one thing where they said that they had a problem with how the character who was pretty much a villain, how they humanized that character. I don't want to say too much. All I can say is that, I don't know about that because the character still pays for her past actions.
Yeah, and it is the point of the story.
Yeah. No, the message of the movie is not being able to escape the deepest parts of your past, whether you did some crimes or whether you have other people that's still involved in your life. That you can never really separate yourself from. So, this character can try to be as much a saint as she wants to, but the message is you can't escape. So I don't think they really were trying to humanize that character that much. I think there was a message behind the movie.
It was her arc.
Yeah. So, I don't hate the movie. Some of the criticisms I disagree with and some of the controversies, if I didn't know about them, then it wouldn't have mattered. However, but with this film, I do have problems with it. And I don't understand the love for this movie. Now, I'm being honest, if I had seen this movie, all controversies aside, no matter what I read, no matter what, if I had come out this movie in November, I probably would have been like something like you, just getting my review and going about my day.
Yeah, when it popped up with all these nominations, I was like, what? Because I know people who like the movie. I know people who hate it. I don't know anybody who loves it.
I would have been about my day. He loves it. I would have been my day.
It almost made my top 10, I'll tell you that.
So you got one right here.
Okay.
But 13 goddamn nominations? If I had seen this before, you would have turned the table over. If I was eating dinner, that shit would have been all over the floor and the wall. I would start speaking Spanish. I don't see that. And I'm being honest with you. I would not see that had I seen this movie back when y'all saw it. I would have been like, what the f***? You talk 13 nominations. But get the Oscars at the Golden Globes. I would have been like, what?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, even at the Golden Globes, I was like, all right, well, that's the Golden Globes. Shh, whatever.
Well, at the Golden Globes, I'm sorry, at the Golden Globes, I've been like, well, y'all been drinking anyway. So y'all don't. Y'all accidentally gave all these awards. I probably was going to somebody else.
Are you going to go through which of the nominations specifically stand out to you as something that doesn't fit?
No, not right now.
Okay.
No, we're talking about this. People, it's an outlandish story, all right? But it's wild and it's interesting. A cartel leader becomes a woman, fakes his death, opens a nonprofit to find missing people, and half of it's done to music. I respect. The balls are the balls you cut off.
I mean, they're just sitting there. Might as well.
Removed or whatever, Listen, it could work. I respect the movie, and the thing is, it should be helped by being a musical. It's so outlandish, it's so out there. I would almost say, if I had heard about this, I would say, yes, do that as a musical.
Yes.
Because that's so over the top. We need over the top musical numbers to even remind us how crazy this is.
With the first half that I liked, it being so broad, I was like, well, being a musical, this works. But there's a point when it kind of stops being a musical.
Let me just tell you something. It's a mediocre musical at best for me. Like I have nothing to say to people who love it. These are all movies. That's why I don't like talking about movies to people, because everybody's so stuck on their opinion. I don't care what you like. You like this, that's fine. I don't get this shit. I'll tell you that right now. It's because, and let me just tell you why. The musical numbers, as you were saying, it's a mediocre musical at best for me. And that makes the story even more ridiculous to the point where it's like, well, it should have been helped. And I'm just looking at him like, okay, I ain't buying this no more. Like you said, it's also doing too much. I agree with that. See, the thing is, I think you already kind of alluded to this. I hold musicals to a different standard, or a higher standard, at least. Maybe a higher standard than most people. I'm not even like a big musical connoisseur. I'm just saying, though, if you are an award-winning musical, or even if you got a lot of nominations for awards, there at least should be one musical number, at least one. that gives you chills, that takes you to an emotional height, that has you thinking about that song when you walk out. Ain't one goddamn song in this movie is in my head after I'm done. Not one. Not one. And you know what? I thought I gave the movie the benefit of the doubt. I said, it's because a lot of this movie is in Spanish. So maybe it doesn't have the same impact on me. But then they get to this musical number right here.
Men to woman, or woman to men,
Man to woman.
from penis to vagina.
Like this musical number stands out because everybody's talking about like what?
From penis to vagina. You and me can do this.
To me,
We can make this right now.
the song-
Martin, is your dick still there?
Let me check real quick.
Do you want it cut off?
Maybe.
I said, look, if you a musical, you can't do this.
I know.
You can't do this. No, well, not. You can't do this shit. People, like, man, you hit it. I looked at this and I thought the same thing. I said, am I watching Joker 2 again?
For once, I have someone who needs me.
But when Arthur Fleck is doing better than you.
And sure, it's got great lighting and all, and the music is fine, but the singing, you're like, why are you doing this?
Man, can we watch that again, y'all? Just one more time.
Men to woman, or woman to men,
Man to woman.
from penis to vagina.
People, this is the musical that your friend paid for and asked you to come see it. And you got to see it and you don't like what you think about it? Like,
or they're in it, you came to support it. You're just like, oh, what am I going to say when this is over?
you sit up there trying not to laugh. This is what this was nominated. I don't see it. I don't get it. That's that. People, I'm not trying to pick on this. I'm not trying to bandwagon. That musical number is bad to me.
But can I say what I think the movie is doing there? I mean, that to me is just like in between songs in musicals. They have like parts where music is playing and they're kind of talking and singing, because right after the clip that's been going viral, that's when it really like goes grandiose and everyone starts really singing.
And I don't like that part either because they don't even start fully singing. They're chanting. They're doing just a slightly more musical version of what we just saw right there. And you know what? And I'm a little biased 'cause I don't like that talk singing thing. That's just bad to me. And you know what? Let me show you how unbiased. Well, I am biased, but let me just show you how fair I'm trying to be with this, because I'm not saying it can't work, the talk singing method. You've heard me talk about this movie before, and I hardly ever mention it because I don't know if it's a movie that y'all would like or understand, but it is a classic film. But one of my favorite movies, at least just for the way it looks, is The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Have you ever seen this?
No.
It's a French film, and it's known for, some musical numbers from it.
Okay.
That classic, you've heard it.
Okay.
But the movie's known just for its colorful and vibrant cinematography. It's a beautiful looking film. And I don't speak French, but maybe again because I don't speak the language, it sounds better to me. But they kind of do this the song singing thing, but they're actually even then doing more singing, and they're doing it very well. And the movie looks great. I often play it in the background sometimes. To this day, I just put it on and just let it just play, sometimes without the sound on, because it looks so beautiful. But you've heard some of these numbers before.
Mais je ne pourrais, et je te garderai.
So this is about two lovers who meet early on in life, and then life happens, and it becomes somewhat of a of a bitter
Tragedy?
Yeah, not, I won't say only tragic in that life keeps them apart, and they were so in love before. But this movie is so beautiful.
Yeah,
it looks so amazing. The lighting, the colors, the costumes, and just the set design is great. But they do that talk singing thing in there. But that's what they were doing just then.
Yeah.
That sounded like just singing.
Yeah, that sounded more like singing.
I would say that's singing.
Well, if you listen, like, you'd have to see the subtitles. They are having conversations.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So they are kind of talk singing, but that's what I was saying. They're singing.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not trying to hide that I can't sing by talking through something. No, you full of shit. I know what you are doing. I'm trying to pull that on me.
That's a thing that Broadway does, where they have like in between the songs or building up to the songs, like they'll do that talk singing thing. But I can understand if you don't like it.
It's not for me, man. If you come from theater. So I can't blame me if you see something
It
there
just
that's
like
valid.
doesn't bother me. It was just like the song. To me, the song hadn't really started yet.
Well, I think like in Wicked, like you have Jeff Goldblum who sings through a song.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. So you're going to get your big musical numbers.
Yeah.
Your big satisfying musical numbers.
And I would say those songs are definitely better. Like the thing about this that I found interesting was that the music feels more like a score, especially because the way that they use the theme, which is really good, I thought.
Well, man, I tell you, again, there are certain things that I will give this movie praise for. I think that the actors are doing as well as they can, and in some cases, very good with this format, these musical numbers. I do like Selena Gomez in this. I think she did a great job at being caught in this man's the decisions that he makes all for himself. Being married to a selfish person who tries to actually push her away and then bring her back in for his own selfish reasons, especially the kids. I thought she showed the anguish in that very well. I don't know, man. What's her name?
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. I like her. I think she does a very good job. The character didn't stand out to me too much, but I think she does a great job.
The character doesn't have much going on in itself. It's not really a well-developed character.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it's she does fine. Especially with some of the musical numbers, she's doing fine. She's got the dances down. I really was impressed with Carla Sophia Gascon. I liked her a lot. In fact, I said I want to see what this actor does more after this. I thought she did a great job.
I thought that they had the highest points in the movie. Like where the movie is really succeeding, she's there.
I think for this though, man, for me, where I came in thinking like, yeah, you got to tell this with music. When it was done, I was like, you know what, just tell the story. Just take the music out. Because maybe building more character would have helped the story more, would have helped it seem less ludicrous to me. I might have known about some complaints in here, but now that I do, I understand. I'm kind of like you. I understand the complaint of using transitioning as a way of not saying this is who I am or being the person that you want to do, but trying to use that to get rid of your past. Again, to find some redemption. And I get that maybe because before, I hear trans people complain about this, but this is a problem I had with the movie when I even heard the concept. And this is just something for me. There's a certain trope that I think is outdated, and they do it here, and that is, I don't know if I want to be a man or a woman, so I'm just gonna go crazy. I'm just gonna, and not crazy. I'm gonna turn into a killer.
Yeah.
That's a trope that's old, man, and it's been used, for a long time in movies. But I think it's a little outdated. They did it in things like Dress to Kill.
Oh, right.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest examples of this classic movie, Sleepaway Camp.
Oh.
I'm really a girl. I'm really a guy.
Well, when you bring that up, they do it in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls also.
Yeah. So it's something where that was used before we really understood trans people or gay people. It was always something to make them villains because, they're confused. So they must be crazy. So therefore they're psycho. I think that's kind of an old thing right there, man. I'm not looking at these past movies saying that these movies are bad. They're classic films.
Yeah.
But I just think it's something that now that we understand a little bit better, it's something that I don't think we need to be, still using as, especially as the main plot of a movie.
Do you think that held back that character's performance?
No. I think the character was. I think that actress did very well. I also understand the complaints about Mexico.
Yeah, that was something I thought. I mean, look, no movie can represent all of something. But I was like, man, this movie just makes Mexico look small and terrible, and there's more to it than that.
Well, so the reason why I understand, and it's just coincidence. And I don't know if I would have thought about this or not before, to be honest with you. But the thing is that they're not talking about just all of Mexico. They specifically said Mexico City. Mm-hmm. And it's just a coincidence that lately people have been recommending Mexico City for me. You've heard me say on this show that I want to go to Mexico City.
Yeah.
And Mexico City is such a big city. It's a business hub. It's considered to be one of the coolest and most metropolitan places full of some of the best bars and restaurants. At least that's what I've been told. And so when you see this, they talking about how dangerous Mexico City is. It's like, okay, that I can tell you is a misrepresentation.
And you say, well, come on, this can't represent that. But I will say that when I saw Man on Fire, I thought that's all Mexico City was.
It was on fire.
yeah. But and it looked like this. But it took me learning more about the world in Mexico City. Go like, oh, it's actually a big metropolitan city where people go to vacation.
Yeah, it's huge.
It is not just. This is not the totality of it.
Look, in the movie, they did a musical number where it looked like people just getting stabbed in the street, just standing there. And I was like, that's not how that goes. And I listen, if you are from Mexico City, you're like, that's not what it's like here. And I would be like, yeah, I get it, man. I get it. This director, I was reading just what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is my Mexico. These are my Mexicans. I don't know nothing about it, but who cares? So if you're not in a place maybe to speak for a certain group like trans people or maybe all of Mexico, then, maybe this ain't the project for you.
He also didn't do himself any favors when they say, hey, how come you didn't hire, Mexican actors for this? And he's like, well, I don't know any good Mexican actors.
He said that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have said that.
I might have a lot of respect for the musical numbers as far as the camera work goes. Like I said, I think that they do some interesting camera work when it comes to those musical numbers.
And
I like
editing.
And the editing too. But they still are like sets. I can't say that there's some big, grand, glorious dance numbers or musical numbers. They do a couple of things. They still seem very self-contained. They still feel like they're on a set. And a lot of them just end abruptly.
I thought that too. That I was like, it just felt clipped. Like they were going like, well, when you come see the play, you'll get the full musical number. But it really did feel, it had the feeling like, okay, if this is based on a true person, I kind of get it. Or if this is the movie version of a Broadway musical, I kind of get it. But it's neither of those things. And it was just always like, okay, when you first described this movie, you didn't mention it was a musical. Yeah. I had to say like, oh, it's a musical. Yeah. To be a musical, like that should have been one of the first things you said about it because it would have been foremost on your mind. But like I said, the musical part, it's like, it was on their minds. And then at some point, it kind of got shuffled away. Like it wasn't even that important.
There's never a grandstanding finale to any of these. And maybe you don't always need one. Maybe that's what he meant to do. Maybe he meant to make it a little more subtle, because it is about the suffering of people. So, who knows? It's working for some people. Like I said, I hold musicals up to a bigger standard. Look, I got respect for the movie. I do. It's telling a different story. It's trying something different. I can enjoy those parts that are good. But, this award worthy, I don't understand. I'm confused. With all these awards. That's not me trying to hate on it because I don't hate it. I'm just telling you how it made me feel when I stopped watching it.
Do you think that the nominations stem from the Academy's trying to show like, look, we're with the times. This is about a trans person.
I think it's totally that.
Yes, I do. I think it's two things. I think it's three things. I think it's that. I think, this is somebody that's saying that this is, history making for a trans performer. Also, there's one of those movies, it got popular in one crowd that was prestigious enough to make it seem important. And everybody like, well, they said it was cool. So, so now, and that happens a lot. Some people even talk about the movie and vote for it without having even seen it.
Right. They're just told like, this is what we're voting for. This is an important movie of our time.
Yeah. Somebody told somebody that this was an important or, prestigious film and it came from a prestigious group of people. So everybody just went with it. That's, maybe not. But that's what I'm kind of suspicious of.
We have to stand for trans people and support them. And the trans people said, we don't like this movie. And they're like, oh, shit.
I'm sorry. I love trans people, but I don't like this movie. I'm not saying, I can't even say I don't like the movie. I just don't. I think, with the musicals being mediocre in here, it turned into a mediocre film. There's certain parts that stand out, but as a whole, I'm just thinking, all right, if I seen this on If I seen this on Netflix, I'd be like, well, that was pretty interesting. This, that was cool, but that's about it. I salute the hard work and the things that are good in it. Also, the third thing I meant to mention with this being so popular, look, that director is somewhat of a critic's darling, or even a festival darling. He did Rust and Bone and A Prophet. I think a few other things. I've seen these two movies, so he's already kind of got a little spotlight on him.
Oh yeah. I remember Rust and Bone.
Yeah, so
Never heard of either of them.
they're good. They both are good.
Do they have outlandish ideas like this one?
Ain't nobody singing.
Not outlandish, but a little out there.
Yeah, like this one. This is a relationship between a man and an amputee.
Interesting.
And there is a love scene with showing the amputee limbs. There's another reason why it points off. Let me see here. Some of the things they do to get their point across. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find a picture. There it is. I was like, damn, before he was a she, the actual cartel, the cartel leader Manitas, to show the contrast between him transitioning to this beautiful woman. What he was before, he like a goddamn caveman.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, you just made him too rough.
Yeah, just the whole time looking at him, I was like, there's something not right about this dude. And I was like, his nose looks like putty.
It does look like a damn caveman mask or something. And, I was like, okay, they made him look too rough.
Yeah.
For me, just to show the contrast between the two.
They do show him a lot in the dark, though. I think there was a lot of like silhouette stuff with him and a lot of voice stuff.
Man, he looked like the Wolfman or something.
Way more hair.
Yeah, way more than other Wolfman. Look at this little crazy. When I first saw him, I was like, prosthetics.
Yeah, prosthetics.
Heavy prosthetics, very noticeable prosthetics right here. So, I don't know, man. Listen. I give it a high rental. A lot of admiration for the movie. Really love that they tried a lot of things right here. But again, when you try something, some things don't always work. And you got to admire at least the effort, even if it doesn't work all the way through. However, some misguided steps here too. Listen, you knew you were going to piss these Mexicans off, these trans people off. Come on now.
I don't think you thought about that at all.
Yeah, I guess not.
That's a whole kind of being up your own ass and not realizing, how things were coming across.
Yeah. That's ambitious, but misguided is what I would say. Admired in where it needs to be. Definitely criticizing where it needs to also be criticized. I don't know, but yeah. No. What would you give it?
Well, I think that I'm not crazy about the songs, but like I mentioned, they work, and I think that the actors, their performance really like uses the music well. And I thought that there were some really, really strong emotional moments where I really understood how these characters felt while they were singing. And you're right, they weren't like grandiose big songs. There was no one crashing through a big window with a broom, who was green. Like there's nothing like that.
I wasn't looking for that.
No. I'm just kidding.
A green Mexican with a broom.
A real bruja, if you will. But I really thought that there were some strong emotional moments that I was tearing up, like when the Emilia Perez character is talking about, wanting to be a woman. And like the way that their voice was changing and like the way they were singing, I really thought that a lot of the singing carried a lot of emotion. And I do think the worst thing about it is that it feels like it runs a little bit long.
You know what? I mean, listen, you reflect a group of people that do like the movie. I'm not looking for all us to think the same.
Yeah.
If there's a group of people who like the film, I'm glad somebody here is in that group.
Yeah, I mean, and I went into this totally blind and I was just like, wow, you're going for this. And I walked out like kind of impressed. I liked it. I'd give it a full price. I think that there's incredible production. Like you say that it looked like sets. I did not think it looked cheap at all.
Well, I of course agree more with you almost to a T. I probably liked it a little less, but I think about how back when Green Room came out, and you and I both saw it and was like, this is a good entertaining movie. And then it was a huge backlash on it.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
Well, everybody was talking about how, it was like, fake Hollywood racial harmony Not Green Room, sorry, the Green Book.
Oh, Green Book.
Green Book, Green Book, not Green Room.
Yeah, man, I still see some good things in Green Book.
I know. No, we both came out of it going like, you know what? That's one of the better movies I've seen this year. And it wins the Oscar, and everybody was like, "Are you serious?"
You had me for a moment because Green Room is about Nazis. And I was like, hey, racial harmony. They're like, what?
No, sorry. These titles are too similar.
Green Book Room, somebody said.
Yeah. And and once everybody started complaining about it, we were like, yeah, I guess I see what you guys are saying. But just, hey, look, it was entertaining at the time. I wasn't thinking about any of that. So, so I kind of, I get that kind of sentiment. And with this, it's just, like I said, for me, it's more of a lower rental. And I would say I would give it a regular rental, but it would have been a lower rental. But I do admire the ambition. But like I said, for me, just seeing it before any controversy, there was a midpoint, or maybe in the third act, where I was just like, man, for all the potential of what this had and what it was doing, it has now become so much less than that. Mm-hmm. And it really went for that telenovela. Like I said, over and over, I was like, man, okay, now it's just too many things. And if it could have focused on 2 or 3 or even 4 things, it could have made those things great. But as it was, it just kind of dipped in and dipped out and made every part of it just not quite satisfying. Yeah. And in the end, I left going like, yeah, I think I didn't really like that. And then the more I got away from it and thinking back to it, the more I was like, yeah, I'm liking this less the further away from it I am.
Yeah, I got a lot of admiration for the movie, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what would have made this better. I really don't. But I do. I'm always asking for something a little different.
Yeah.
So that's
that's
exactly what I appreciate about this. But
so it's not like I said, I don't hate it, but and it was in the beginning. It was like it's different, and that's what I want. But
there's a lot of execution here that's bad.
Yeah.
Like I said, those musical. If you're gonna be a musical number, you can't be talking about penis and vagina. You can't.
Man, why not?
Why not, Julie?
I see. Men to woman, a woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina.
That's why. That's why. Shit, this right there sunk this movie for me alone.
You go through that, and you're like, all right, they're singing, and he's got an accent. He's not even pronouncing the words correctly. But then the music is not even backing you up. Ding, 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 ding.
I thought it was supposed to be funny.
Well, it is that. We all agree on that. We 100% agree on that. Well, there you go, folks. Well, you made it to the end of the video. That must mean you really like what we do. So if you do, check out these other videos just like this one. Check out our other YouTube channels and subscribe to join our wonderful Toasty community. And as always, stay toasty.